It is a sad day for Eve lovers. Prydwen has updated the tier list and she's a little bit lower than what some people were expecting, let's say. So there is some drama as usual. Every time my tier list is updated, there is always some drama. And as you can see, if we go to bossing, which is, like I always say, the tier list I like, she is on tier S. And as you can see, her ratings: story, low deficit A, high deficit B, bossing S, and PvP C. So let's talk a little bit about her rating and the review Prydwen has given her, and if we agree or disagree with some of the stuff. As usual, before we start, hello the internet, welcome back to the Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict. Today's topic, if and what is on the Prydwen tier list. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help me grow the channel. And let's get started with the Eve review on Prydwen. So a couple of things that, as usual, I like to talk shit because I don't like Ray, okay? Both of them should be lower. I will always say it, but Wind Ray, her only purpose in life is to be with Wind Asuka, and Fire Ray, actually she can be used as a fight enabler in general, but still for the most part with also Fire Asuka. So both of them are kind of like really niche characters for raids. I will always move them down a little bit in contrast to the rest of the girls in this tier, but for the most part I think people take S as like a mid tier, when in reality even Prydwen is telling you she's meta, right? She is a good character. Eve is great. But maybe people were expecting more because this is Shift Up's own IP, right? So people were expecting stronger characters since they have full creative control over both Eve and Raven. We'll see what's going on with Raven next week. So in that regard, I can see why people expected more, but I still believe Eve is on a really good spot. Like I always say, I prefer to get these characters than getting the characters we were getting last year, guys. Last year, half of the characters were unusable, literally, like trash. These characters, mid units that are actually usable, I'll take them any day of the week. That said, let's go a little bit over the investment tips, the pros and the cons that Prydwen has been adding here, and what they're recommending on how to build her. Let's start with the investment tips, and then we'll go over the pros and cons, since I prefer them. So for the skills, they're recommending a 10-4-7 and then go to a 10-7-7. Interesting. Skill 2, in my opinion, you can be taking both of them 10-10-7 rather than going 10-7-7. Her burst doesn't feel worth taking to level 10 versus like how much you're getting back. But then again, if you're gonna be using her on raids consistently, there is no reason to not take a character to 10-10-10 almost in like almost any instance. There is a few supports you can leave lower. There is a few characters that are off burst that you can ignore the burst, but for the most part, raid characters are heavy investment, right? Doesn't matter which one it is. We also put this here so you guys can see better. The other thing that they're recommending in terms of the lines is elemental, attack, and crit damage. I've been speaking with multiple people, multiple theory crafters, and from my understanding and from what people have been telling me, it looks like attack is still better than crit damage, but of course crit damage will increase her damage a lot. Her own crit rate, it's already 75, which is pretty good. She's gonna be critting consistently with just one line of crit, pretty consistently. Is she gonna miss a couple shots here and there? Yes, but it's not enough as to where you need 100% crit in my opinion. Still, I will agree with the recommendations 100%, and then 1-2 crit rates with 1 ammo if you can get 1 max ammo. I feel like for non-Iron Weak content, 2 max ammo lines are better. Because outside of the Iron Weak elemental content, she's not gonna be proccing her skill 2, her built-in bastion, if you will, right? So in that regard, I will say 2 if it's outside for normal neutral content, and 1 line of ammo is usually gonna be more than enough. She reloads also in 1 second, so you don't need to worry about anything else. And then for the cubes, bastion, resilience, and distraction. I am not a fan of the Distraction Cube, just because how expensive it is to set it up just for raids. But again, for people who are doing raids, absolutely go get it up. The problem is that you are at mercy of when Shift Up is actually doing bosses with parts for the raid, and when they decide to add no parts at all, right? There's a little bit of an iffy situation. That's what I always prefer, just to be investing on either Bastion or Resilience. They work on literally every single character in the game. That said, let's move a little bit over the pros and the cons as to what she has right now. We went over this earlier on stream, which by the way, we are live every day. You have the links in the description down below. And we were seeing some of the pros and some of the cons. A couple of things I disagree, but for the most part, as usual, I agree with everything Prydwen is saying. They are way smarter than I am, alright? And just a bosso testing characters on the day of release and talking shit to a mic, okay? So, pros. Decent DPS for Iron bossing content. I think even for neutral content, we're gonna be seeing Eve a lot. But then again, it depends as to what Shift decides to do on future raids. Do we have parts? Do we don't have parts? With parts, it's not really worth bringing her. There is a lot of options right now. Without parts, we are gonna be seeing her a lot. A damage taken debuff, which is basically a team-wide damage buff, which is fantastic. Again, only specifically for Iron Weak enemies, but still is really good. And this is one of the reasons why we might be seeing her on most Iron Weak raids, because even if there are parts, you can still be using Eve as a off-burst character for the 10% damage taken, because her personal damage will be also pretty good, plus she will increase the damage of your Red Hood or your Rapid Red Hood or your Snow White, whoever you decide to pair her with. Innate attack buffs, self-ammo refund against Iron Weak enemies, reducing the need for max ammo overload drastically on her skill 2, like we were talking earlier. 3 bullets every 10 shots, which is literally a Bastion. So if you're pairing this with Bastion, she's recovering 6 bullets every 10 shots, which is crazy, honestly. Less pressure on reaching 12-12 overload lines, as she has multiple lines that work well on her because her crit based DPS. We're talking about this on stream, like I was saying earlier, but I feel this is like a pro and a con at the same time, right? Because yes, there is less pressure, there are more stats you can take advantage of, but at the same time it's gonna be a lot more expensive to actually get good lines of hers on her, because a lot of the times when you are rerolling, you can just get away with just getting elemental and attack, and it's already 2 fantastic lines without the third one. But now you also want to be getting the crit damage, so it's gonna be a lot more expensive in my opinion to actually be getting really good lines on her. I'm waiting because someone is trying to finish their Eve to get 4 crit damage. They are pretty close, and so when we get that, we'll be testing and seeing how she's faring on a full crit build versus the full elemental attack build. That said, of course, the last thing, juiciest shooting pose in-game, period. Absolutely agree. Probably one of the best fan service characters we've gotten in a while. Really good shooting pose. I think Stellar Blade, in terms of fan service, I don't think anyone can complain. It's been probably one of the best that we've gotten. Not only this year, but I will say overall the best collab by far with Nier, and then also in terms of fan service for normal characters, if top 3 cakes in the game for sure. And then we get to the cons, and this is the one that I was actually having a little bit of an issue with, which is base crit rate is only 75%, which introduces a bunch of problems. Mostly infrequent crit procs, due to crit rate not being 100%, can lead to mal sessions in raid in certain teams, and reduces her skill 1 frequency of activation. In my opinion, with just one blue line, she's getting already 81% crit rate. This is the highest base crit rate in the game, 75 by the way. Characters have 15%. We're talking about a character that's 75%, right? Now, will you still malt if you are on solo raids? Yes, you will have to, but you are not missing that many crits. It's literally going to be missing maybe a couple every 10 shots if you are missing them. Like I was saying earlier, from what we were testing and checking online, just by having 75 to 85, it's more than enough. Now again, this is coming from someone who, if I mold, it's gonna be 30 minutes and call it a day. If you're someone who is molding for hours on solo raid, you want to have 100%. But again, the amount of people who are doing that, it's literally the smallest minority in this game by far, right? So 100% it's overkill in my opinion. To 75 to 85, it's more than enough. A team building is restricted to doing it for crit rate, like I was saying earlier. Most of the meta supports right now are providing crit rate, crit damage, good reload speed, so I don't think this is gonna be as much of an issue right now. We'll see long term what new supports we are getting, but you can be putting Crown with Helm Treasure, you're getting a 14 crit rate with Helm Treasure, which is almost basically 90% already. You could be using Volume, you could be using Mates, you could be using so many characters that will be giving you crit rate, be it the Miranda Treasure, and also crit damage. So I don't think this is gonna be that restricted, but of course, coming from someone with the whole Pokédex, right? Depending on your account, this might be true. H1 procs are too low in number to make her meta in campaign, since that's her source of AoE. I think her biggest problem, and I cannot show her because I'm not on global, but is that her skill, I believe it's a skill 1 or skill 2 on her burst, affects random enemies. So this is not like a source of AoE you can even control properly. Or if you have like only 2 enemies and a boss, you might be proccing this to the enemies rather than the boss and you will get fucked. So that's why I agree with her position on the tier list for campaign on high deficit. I think we will not see her as much there because her damage will be lacking in contrast to most other DPS that just have affect all enemies ultimates or overall really good single target, right? Compared to other Iron DPSs, she's only a top tier Iron DPS when Iron weak boss has no parts, since almost all other Iron DPSs scale with parts. Yes, but I don't think that's a pro, that's like a pro and a con. If there are parts, you bring Red Hood. If there are no parts, you will bring in Eve. I think this is just more options overall for the game, right? Which is always good. A comparatively stellar blade protagonist Eve is mid, while the anti-hero Raven is meta. Now, when I made my video on Raven, I actually was thinking that she is gonna be the one getting the short stick, right? As you can see here, I said, best girl got the short stick again, Raven Kid Prices. So I'm curious to see how much better she's going to be than Eve, because Eve is already fantastic. If we're getting a character that is even stronger than that, I'm all for that. She is my waifu in here in this collaboration, so I'll be happy. We'll be testing when she comes out and we'll see how she performs in contrast to it. And that said, for the most part, like I was saying, some people on my chat earlier were not agreeing with the Prydwen tier list. I personally think she's pretty good, but I can see why people were expecting more, considering it's a Shift Up's own IP. To me, I'm happy we're getting characters that can be used. The character we've been getting over the last literally 16 months, if you like them, you can invest in them and use them. This, in contrast to the first year, the first year and a half, is fantastic, so no complaints on my end. That said, that's gonna be it for the japping on this video. As usual, thank you Prydwen for the infinite content every time you update your website. I love you guys. Shout out to Prydwen. We're gonna be live every single day, link in the description, and as usual, good luck with your pool bosses, and I'll see you on the next one.